solve by factoring. So let's go to this worksheet. So spaced out a little bit. Okay, so we're going to solve each of these by factoring. The real rule we're using is the zero property. So don't forget that. Right, zero property. So product property, I should say. There we go. All it says is multiplying A times B, and that equals 0, then either A has to equal 0, or B has to equal 0, or both. Mathematical or. So that's all it's saying. So that's what happens here. So the key thing for this lesson is, right, is 1, set equal to 0. That's huge. And then 2, factor and split. Factor, split, solve. Like that. Right? So we're going to set everything equals 0. We want to do that because then we can use the zero product property. This doesn't work if it's any other number besides 0. If it's 10, you can't just split it. So we have to set equal to 0, we have a factor if we have a factor, and then we split and solve. So look at this one. Already set equal to 0 for how nice. It's already factored for us. How nice. All we got to do now is split it. Like this is my A and B, right? So you go k plus 1 equals 0, or k minus 5 equals 0. So k equals -1 to solve that, or k equals 5. Same thing over here. It's already factored for us. It's already equal to 0. It's already factored for us. So just split it. 4k plus 5 equals 0, or k plus 1 equals 0. So k equals -1, or subtract 5. It's a little bit more on this one. Divide by 4. K equals -5/4. So there we go. Next one, set equal to, so it's already set equal to 0, but we do have to factor it ourselves. Now, I think the last worksheet we did a lot of factor the number in front. Now this has no number in front, so it's the easy factoring. So all I do here is like a negative 45 and think of two things that multiply to get 45, but at -45, but add to get 4. That should be 9 and 5. Right? Either -9 plus 5 or -5 plus 9. I get 4 and -4. I want 4, so it's this one. So all we have to do is put x minus 9, x plus 5. You can still do it the long way, like where I multiply the two things. It still works. It just takes a lot more time. Right? When there's a number in front, just go, okay, what two things multiply get -45, but I have to get 4. Put it here and there, and you're done. We split, we solve, x equals 9 or -5. Next one, it's already set equal to 0. It's not factored for me, but there's only two things. So a lot of people freak out here. Don't forget the first rule of factoring. Do they have anything in common? They do. They have an x in common. For some people, it's like the hardest problem. They have an x in common. So pull it out, right? Pull out an x. X squared divided by x. You took one out. 9x divided by x is 9. Right, so just factor out an x. They both have it. Then you split it. X equals 0. X minus 9 equals 0. This one's done. This is 9. So your answer is either 0 or 9. Next one, it's not equal to 0. So that's the first thing you should know. It's not equal to 0. I said equal to 0. So let's subtract 15x from both sides. I always like to keep the x squared positive. That's my goal. It's a lot easier to factor when the x squared is positive. So I always try to go for that. And if it's not that, I move it so it is that. So I get this, and then I can factor. Again, just like this one. Right, there's only two things. What do they have in common first? They both have 5x. You should get that. Split it. 5x equals 0. You divide by 5, you just get x equals 0. Then x equals 3. So there's my two answers. Get down to this one. This one also has two things, but they have nothing in common. There's no number in common. But look at it. It's a difference of two squares. I can factor both of these. They're both squares. X minus 6, x plus 6 equals 0. Split it. X equals 6 or -6. Next one, first thing we notice, not equal to 0. I said equal to 0, move the 5 over. Always try to keep the x squared positive. So you get that. And now I can factor back. Now this factor is more fancier than the last one. So I'll multiply these together and get -60 x squared. I need two things to multiply, get -60, add to get -4. Is that 6 and 10. So 6 and -10 probably works. Right, 6 times 10 is -60. 6 plus -10 is -4. So there we go. Sub that in for the middle. So it's going to be 12x squared Instead of negative 4, it's going to be plus 6x minus 10x minus 5 equals 0. Then we do my favorite thing, we factor by grouping. These have a 2x in common, so I get 6x plus 3. And that's wrong. I could go even further. I could factor out a 6 from both of them, that's better. 6x, so I get 2x plus 1. I just noticed once I did, I was like, wait, that's still factorable. Yeah, so 6 goes into both of them. Remember here, remember the thing we always do is bring down the middle sign. Gotta bring that down that negative. What do these have in common? A 5. And don't forget, when you do that, all you're doing is dividing by negative 5. So negative 10x divided by negative 5 is just a 2x. And here's the big one. Negative 5 divided by negative 5 is a positive 1. Positive 1. Alright, so you have that. And then we could factor. They both have a 2x plus 1 in common. That's gone. And look what's left over, 6x minus 5. And then we're still not done. That's just factoring. We still got to solve it now. So split. This will get you negative 1/2. Right, so you set this equal to 0. Subtract 1 divided by 2. Set this equal to 0. Add 5 divided by 6. So 5, 6. So there we go. I'll cut it a little short because I'm running out of space. One over here. It's already set equal to 0, so all I gotta do is factor. But notice what you can do first. Right? Make your life work smarter, not harder. These all have a 2 in common. So we could pull out a 2. In this case, it's a very special case since it's an equation. You actually can divide everything by 2. Right? When you factor, you can't do this. But if you're solving, you can. It's an equation. So I can divide everything by 2. This makes my life a little bit easier. So to do it, I still have to solve it. I still have to multiply these together. I get negative 6x squared. I need 2 things to multiply. I get 6. I have to get negative 1. So that's what? 3 and negative 2? That's not it. Sorry, it's negative 3 and positive 2. I need to get a negative 1. Plug in for the middle. Sorry. So it's going to look like this. 6x squared minus 3x plus 2x minus 1 equals 0. Factor by grouping. They both have 3 in common, 3x in common. So I get 2x minus 1. Bring down the middle sign. These have nothing in common, so remember we always pull a 1 down. And then 2x minus 1 equals 0. These match, so 2x minus 1, 3x plus 1. Equals 0. And I gotta cut it short again because I'm running out of space. I said equal to 0, so right here you go plus 1 divided by 2. X equals 1/2. Over here you go minus 1 divided by 3, so negative 1/3. And that's how you solve. So you solve by factoring. So z equals 0, factor, split, and solve. Page 2, more of the same. Let's do some more examples. So first one, 7x squared plus 2x. So again, factor what they have in common. These have an x in common. That's it. Right? So remember, for step 1 is always look what they have in common. These have an x in common. What's left over? 7x plus 2 equals 0. Now we split and solve. X equals 0, that's easy. 7x plus 2 equals 0. Subtract 2 divided by 7. So this or this. Next one, first thing you should notice, not equal to 0. So you gotta make it equal to 0. So minus 3 minus 3. So you get 7k squared minus 6k equals 0. And now, factor by grouping. No, sorry, not factor by grouping, factor it. It's only 2 things, so what do they have in common? They have a, if you can see through my bad writing, they have a k in common. 7k minus 6 equals 0. Split it. K equals 0. 7k minus 6 equals 0. Add 6. Divide by 7. K equals 6 over 7. Next one, first thing we notice, there's not equal to 0 again, right? Not equal to 0, very important. So set equal to 0. Subtract 6 from both sides. So n squared plus 3n minus 18 equals 0. Now we have some good news on this one. There's no number in front, so it's easy factoring. You just go, okay, what 2 things multiply to get 18? Negative 18, but I have to get 6. 6 and 3. So it's a positive 3, so right, negative 18. 6 and 3, so I'll write them both here. -3, 3. The easy way to tell the bigger number is takes the middle sign. So since I want a positive 3, the bigger number should be 6. 6 should be positive is what I mean to say. Right, so when it's different signs, whatever the bigger number is, would be the sign of the middle number. Since I want it to be positive, my bigger number 6 should be positive. Anyway, then you split, solve, n equals -6 and 3. Over here, not equal to 0 again. So more of the same. Set equal to 0 first. Make sure that's important, because that's very important. So we get this. Now actually they don't have anything in common. 16 doesn't factor by 3, so we just got to factor the long way. Multiply these together. So -36 r squared. So I need two things to multiply to get 36, but add to get -16. That's a little tougher. It's 2 and 18. Positive 2, and again, notice how it's different signs, right? That thing's the middle sign's negative, so my bigger number has to be negative, so 18 is going to be negative. So rewrite it. Right? So 2 and 18 gets me 36, but I had to get 16. So I wrote it sloppily. Factor by grouping. These have an r in common, that's all. Always bring down the middle sign, very important. These have a 6 in common. You can factor them both by 6. Like I always point out, remember you're dividing by a -6, so that's to bring the negative down. So -18 divided by -6 is a positive 3r. -12 divided by -6 is a positive 2. So that's why it works. And then these match, so you factor them out. 3r plus 2. What's left over? R minus 6 equals 0. If you split and solve, you're going to get r equals 6 and r equals -2/3. Right, because subtract the 2 divided by 3. So there we go. A few more of these. So again, same thing. Man, none of these are set equal. That one is set equal to 0 first. I gotta start writing smaller. 6b squared. We're going to add the 3 to both sides. Minus 13b plus 6 equals 0. So I'm gonna make my thing even smaller. There we go. Okay, got it. Picked it. Move on. Okay, same idea. Nothing to be pulled out. So let's multiply these together. I get 36b squared. I need two things to multiply to get 36, but I had to get 13. So what 9 times, that won't work. 9 times 4 does though. 9b and 4b. Now notice, I don't think we've done this one actually. It's a positive 36, but the middle sign's negative. That means they're both negative, they're both the same sign. Anytime it's a positive, it has to be the same sign. Middle sign's negative, it's both to be negative. So let's plug that in for that. So 6b squared minus 9b minus 4b plus 4 equals 0. Factor by grouping. These two have a 3b in common. Bring down the middle sign. These have a 4 in common. Remember, we're divided by -4, so -4b divided by -4 is just b. 4 divided by -4 is a -1. And what? I copied this down wrong. Sorry. So why is it not working? Because I copied it down wrong. That's to be a 6, not a 4. I don't know what I was thinking. Anyway, same idea though. These have a 2 in common, not a 4. Sorry about that. -4b divided by -2 is 2b. 6 divided by -2, again, 6 divided by -2 is -3. Split, factor out what they have in common. 2b minus 3 and 3b minus 2 equals 0. Split, that equals 0. And this equals 0. So we'll cut this a little short, 3/2 and 2/3. That's my answer. There we go. Next one. Now this is an important one. Again, I'm gonna move so you have like k's on this side too. I want my k squared to be positive. So right now it's a negative, so I'm gonna move it over. That's a negative also, so I might move both of them over, but I'm gonna move this over. Hopefully that cancels out, makes it becomes a positive. It will. So we're gonna try to make this side 0. Move everything over that side. We go plus 5k squared, plus 5k squared, plus 3, plus 3. Oh, a lot of things happen. These cancel out, of course. That cancels out. I'm left with k squared minus 8k. Well, that's a lot easier. Now again, there's only two things, so still do the same thing. We factor it, so they have in common, like k. Always the first thing you should ask yourself. Split it, k equals 0. K minus 8 equals 0. So k equals 8. There you go. Move on. This one, again, same concept, got to set equal to 0. Again, I'm going to move this over there. I want to keep my x squared and my b squared positive. So let's subtract 3b to both sides. I get b squared minus plus, 2b minus 35. What am I doing? Equals 0. So again, now there's no reference, so these are the easy ones. You should think these are the easy ones. So I don't have to factor fancy, just go, okay, well, two things multiply, I get 35, negative 35, but I had to get 2. So they'd be different signs. So you like negative 35, think all the factors, is it 7 and 5? It is, that's one thing about it. Is it 35 and 1? I think it's really the only choice that we have. And it is 7, 5, but again, different signs, so it could either be negative 7, positive 5, or it could be positive, negative 5, positive 7. I want it to be a positive 2, so that means the bigger number has to be positive, so it's this one. So it's going to be b minus 5, b plus 7 equals 0. Split, b equals 5, so this equals 0. Bad notation on my part, negative 7. And there you go. One more of these solving ones right here. So it's already equals 0, that's good, but it does have a negative x squared, which I don't like. So what I'm going to do is I'm move them all over, or you can think about divide everything by negative. So I like to move them all over though. So I'm going to move 3x squared over to this side, plus 10x minus 8 equals 0, right? Just switch all the signs. That feels better. So now we do what we normally do. Multiply these two together. I get negative 24x squared. I need two things that multiply, I get 24, but add to get 10. Now I get to negative 24, there's different signs. So 6 and 4 doesn't work. It's because they're different signs. That's why 6 and 4 does not work. It has to be the different signs. So this will get me negative 2. It's 12 and 2. Again, I want the middle one to be positive, so that means the bigger one should be positive since they're different signs. So it's like this. That'll give me 10x. So 12x and 2x. So let's plug that in for the middle. So I get 3x squared plus 12x minus 2x minus 8 equals 0. Factor by grouping. 3x they have in common, so x plus 4. Always bring down the middle sign. These have a 2 in common, right? 2x and 8x. Remember, factoring is just dividing, so negative 2x divided by negative 2 is just x, and negative 8 divided by negative 2 is a positive 4. These match. X plus 4, 3x minus 2 equals 0. So x equals negative 4 and 2/3, or 2/3. Okay, last thing. So now we want to go backwards. What if these are the solutions? What would be the given equation? So that's what's asking. So if I had negative 5 and 7 as my answers, how do I go backwards? Well, first, you just take a step back, right? How did I get 5 as an answer? It had to be b minus 5. How did I get 7 answers? B plus 7. And then what do you do? Multiply it out. That's all it is. So if I had this, how do I get 7? You get it from x minus 7. How do you get 1? You get that from x plus 1. Right? The reverse of the zero product property. Set equal to 0 because it is an equation. Set equal to 0. And then just distribute. X squared plus x minus 7x minus 7. So you get x squared minus 6x minus 7. And yes, I said distribute. I do not like FOIL. So here, we're same idea. How did I get negative 5? It came from x plus 5. How did I get 2? It came from x minus 2. Set equal to 0 because it is an equation. Then we distribute. So distribute. So x squared minus 2x, 5x times negative 10 equals 0 to 0. Let's see. Add up like terms. X squared plus 3x minus 10 equals 0. So there's our answer. Here we go.